me, it doesn't make sense for me to take time away from that to figure out how to fix a dryer, because the time it would take me versus the time that I could just be at work doesn't make sense. And while I'm at work, someone else is also doing the work. So it's a time thing. If I'm at work making money, someone is also working on the dryer at the same time. I've just saved time. Right. And that's, I think, the biggest thing. You mentioned that a lot in your content is the aspect of time. That's all we're trying to do. We're trying to buy our time back. I don't care about the money. I don't really want the money. I want my time back. Yes. I want my time to be able to spend with the people I love, doing the things that I want to do.
Yep. Yeah. And that's where, it's financial freedom. Then you get into that time freedom. Then you get to that geographical freedom.
Yeah, there he is. There he is. That's my guy right there. Yeah.
Isaiah. You're like, why are you clapping like that?
Like what?
That's what my tech guy told me to do. Man, he goes, Gary, clap so that way we can sync up the video and the audio together. So I look like a little dolphin here. Like, anyways, so what's going on, brother? How you doing?
Hey, man, I'm good. Thanks so much for having me. Appreciate it.
Yeah, good, man. You're looking good, healthy. 28 years old?
28, yeah.
Man, I wish I was 28 again. No, you know what? I was actually talking to a friend about this. It's like, it's not that I wish I was 28 again or 29 or whatever age. You know what they should allow you to do is on your birthday, go back and be any age you want to be for 24 hours.
Yes.
Wouldn't that be cool?
That would be very cool. I would do in a heartbeat, I would do that. That's amazing. That would be so much fun.
And then go back and have the knowledge that you have though today.
Yeah. But only for 24 hours. That would be
24 hours. Yeah. So I want to have the knowledge, go back when I'm like 5 years old.
Yeah. Whoa. Yeah. Yeah. That would be very interesting.
It would be. It would be. Cool. Yeah, man. Listen, good to have you in here. Cheers again, brother. Cheers, buddy. All right. We are going to dig into your story. How's life been, man? How's real estate investing, family life, just everything?
Yeah. You know what? Life's been good. I feel like the last couple of years have been crazy, like getting into the business, getting into the game, and really learning so much. Like you come out of, like, I went to Laurier and everything, and you do what everyone tells you to do. You go to school, get good marks, get good grades, get that government job. Like, you're supposed to be good. So I was like, oh man, like I did it. And just after I came out of school, my mind was just like literally blown open by the opportunities that you can have in the world, in the game of real estate, in the game of business, and like so many other things. And I was like, what the heck? I just paid like 40 grand to go to school and they taught me none of this. Yeah. And then I come out and you like your education like triples or doubles or whatever. And it's been crazy, but yeah, health wise, still good. All the joints still work. Family is still there around me. And I got this new passion for real estate, and it's been an amazing ride so far.
Awesome. Yeah. And that's the thing too, is that you go to school, you get this education, and then you're supposed to get this job, and then you're supposed to give, whether it be the government or a company, and put it in a mutual fund and put it in RSP, and then you're supposed to have millions at the end of retirement. And it seems like that is so untrue.
So yes.
So untrue.
Yeah.
Or how about a lie?
Yeah, let's just call a spade a spade. Like, it's not like it's a lie. It's not true. And like when you look at it in reality, it's like, whoa, that is not what I signed up for. I signed up for sunshine and rainbows. And then you actually look at people who are going quote unquote on what you're supposed to do, and it doesn't look like how the mutual fund handbook looked. It's not like two families all joined together. So
no. And you know what though? And so you're younger, but I mean, I was doing it. Like, I got my first condo when I was 23 years old. And then, we had our son, and then we got the townhouse, and then I got into some debt, refinance. A few years later, got into more debt, refinance. And then the story started in 2008 for the third time, when I'm like, this is not working.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at my RSPs. I'm looking at the statements that are coming in. And I'm like, what's this bullshit? Yeah. Like this, how am I going to retire off of this? And now all the equity that I've just built in my home, it's all gone because all my debt is in there, Yeah. And I was like, okay, there's got to be another way. Like, this doesn't make sense. But anyways, this is not about me. It's about you telling my story. Everybody knows my story. So let's talk about you, your story. Why did you get into real estate investing, and what specifically are you doing? Because you're doing something different and unique. I think from some of the previous guests I've actually had in the show, and I like it, and that's why I have you here.
Nice. Yeah. So I'll backtrack quick. So like I said, went to Laurier. I played rugby, football there, had a great time. I got a degree when I was there, but I was really there to play sports. Had a great time. And again, like I said, I did what I was supposed to do, got that government job. I thought I was going to be like the world's best police officer, best like cop or whatever. Got on with Metrolinx as a special, moved over, got on with Toronto Police. Just didn't work out as a police officer. I wasn't liking it. They weren't liking it. Like it was just not a good vibe. Plus my commute was killing me. And I was looking around. I'm like, okay, like, as a police officer, especially in Toronto, you're going to make six figures. Like it's supposed to be like, quote unquote, one of the best, the most stable jobs. But I'm looking around and these guys, like they look awful. Like guys who were like 30 years old look like they're 85 and just beat up, disgruntled. I'm like, oh my gosh, like, is this what I'm signing up for? Like this can't be the way to go. And, I've always been an entrepreneur and I've tried different stuff. Like I had a first aid company. I was selling t-shirts. Even in high school, I was like selling like pop and chips out of my locker. So I've always been doing the entrepreneurial stuff, but I was doing it more on like a job, like all these side, quote unquote, side hustles. I didn't really know how to like build wealth or build a business. So I stumbled across real estate, and the first piece of real estate I got was like a new build condo.
What age was this?
23.
Okay.
23. Yeah.
23. Okay.
So
you've been in the game for like 5 years. That's a little crazy.
But but I took a break though. I took a break because I got the condo and it was a new build, so I had to wait. And I was just like, I was so worried about making payments. I'm like, okay, I'm just doing the math. I'm like, can I make these like deposit payments? And I'm saving. I'm like, oh my gosh, like I wouldn't call myself an investor at that point. But then what really turned it for me is whatever, I bought it at whatever price it was. It was a phase 1, 2, 3 build. I bought phase 2 and then I saw phase 3 come out and I saw the difference in price. I'm like, oh my gosh, I just made 6 figures for holding this. Now I won't get on the whole appreciation, pre-con, anything, but I started understanding what real estate could do. And then from there, I started to really like dive in on what it could do there. And I took my talents around Southern Ontario, did a couple deals, Oshawa, Toronto, Windsor, started implementing the BRRRR method. I really understood that. And then once I was like tapped out capital wise down here, I started looking up north and I found this quaint little town called Timmins, Ontario. And now I'm the mayor of T-Town.
You are.
I'm doing the big things up there. And
awesome.
Yeah, I'm just having a great time. And it's a little bit of a different investment strategy than maybe the mainstream investor, but it works for me. It works for my life and like my goals. And yeah, I'm having a great time and I'm excited to keep going.
And I think that's the key, right? It's about what works for you, as opposed to doing something that somebody else is doing. Because this is where I think a lot of investors make the mistake of going to these events and like, oh, I want to do this strategy. Oh, I should do that strategy. And then they never end up doing anything. So you found something that worked for you. And then you're doing a great job and it looked like you're mastering it, which is awesome. But I want to, before I jump into Timmins, I want to get into your first property because I think that's always a difficult thing for a lot of beginning investors. Why did you pick Windsor and how did it all come together? Did you do it on your own? Did you do a joint venture? How did you raise the capital for that?
Yes. So Windsor was like my first, I think. So Windsor was technically my third property, but it was my first one when I would actually classify myself as a real estate investor. I knew what I had a plan. I knew what I was doing and I executed it very, very well. So it was an off-market deal as well. And so how I got into Windsor again.
And before you do that, so the first two properties, so the condo,
yeah,
did that cash flow or?
Oh gosh, no.
Okay.
No.
But you got into it because like real estate is a way to go. You hadn't gone to no events yet or anything. It's like, okay, I want to get into real estate. Your second property, did that cash flow?
Yes, that one cash flowed. I started understanding, but it was a very basic like Excel math. Like, okay, these are my expenses. This is the income. What's the number at the bottom? Positive. Boom. Let's do it.
Got it. And so you focused on the cash flow on the second one because you're like, oh, I'm actually having to take money out of my pocket physically to pay for this. And you're like, okay, I don't want to do that for the second one.
Yeah. I'm like, this doesn't make sense.
Okay.
Like I get it. We're growing like equity, but I'm like, I can't keep paying for this every month. This makes no sense. I still have to go to work then. Like the job, like the idea is for these things to create income, right? So then I did that for the second one. I was like, yeah. And then I learned about the BRRRR method. So I'm, for anyone who's doing the BRRRR, read like David Green's book, the BRRRR method. Yeah. While I was doing the BRRRR, I was literally reading the book. It was so funny because I'm reading like chapter 4 and then like going on the phone with like contractors and executing like chapter 4. It was like so surreal.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I found.
And just in case there's somebody who's brand new listening to this, the BRRRR method is buy, renovate, refinance, rent, repeat.
Yes. I think you rent before you refinance.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, the BRRRR method.
Sure.
Yeah. All that good stuff. And so yeah, I was really passionate about real estate because I was seeing what it was doing for me. So I was talking about it with everyone. And there was a girl at work, her and her boyfriend were moving out to Whitby. And I was like, oh yeah, that's so cool. Like I live in Whitby too. And I'm like, oh, like how much is the house? She's like, oh, it's like 900,000. I'm like, oh my goodness. That's and we made the same. Like we were both like new cadets at the time. And I'm like, oh, like didn't you live in Windsor? She's like, oh yeah, like I have this like property in Windsor. It's crap. And I'm like, oh, I'll buy it. And she's like, really? Didn't know anything about it, never seen it. And I'm just, yeah, I'll buy it. Let's make it happen. And yeah, so I've only been to that property once physically. I drove down on a Saturday. We saw it. Used every negotiation tactic that I had in my book. Got a good deal on it. Like, you won't believe. Like, I bought it for like well under 200.
Okay.
Found a contractor, did some renos on it.
Now, when you bought that, you were obviously now starting to learn about real estate investing. Were you taking any courses, any networking events that you were going to, or was it more just YouTube and books that you were reading?
YouTube University, man. Like, it's crazy. Like, I feel, and don't get me wrong, like, I feel like mentorship and, coaching, like, there's definitely a place for that, but you can get your first couple, or you can at least get started between a couple good books, a couple good podcasts, YouTube University. Like, that is more than enough to get you started. And anyone who says, oh no, I need mentorship, I'm like, that's like, you're just selling yourself short. Like, just get the ball rolling. Because if you go to mentorship without like a problem or without any like experience, it's very hard for them to kind of help you out, because then you see so much and you get that shiny object syndrome, which is what we're trying to avoid. But anyway, so we come back.
That's a good point. I like that. And what were maybe 2 YouTube channels or books that you read in the beginning for beginners?
I dove into Bigger Pockets. Like,
so did I in the
deep.
Yeah,
like I couldn't.
They just kind of just blew up all of a sudden,
right?
Yeah.
And it just got so popular. Like, I was podcast. Like, I stopped listening to music. Every podcast I listened on 2x speed, and I was just crushing them. Like, in the
only tricky thing though with Bigger Pockets was it was more US based and focused. So there were certain things that they would talk about that wouldn't work up here in Canada.
Yes,
that was the only thing.
Yes, and I think if you could identify those pieces, you'd be okay. And then any of the gaps like that you needed to fill in, I would literally just search those terms, like something for, because like in the States they do like 30-year fixed mortgages. We don't do that in Canada. So I just like Googled or YouTube like financing in Canada, and then learned all the financing options. Like in the States, they always talk about like the FHA 3.5% down. That's a big thing you'll hear on Bigger Pockets and like American content. So I'm like, okay, what's the Canadian equivalent? And for us, it's like the 5% down CMHC, and just find the similarities and to keep going. Like, it's not an excuse that you shouldn't use that resource. Just find where the disconnect is and fill in that knowledge gap and keep going. It's not a reason to stop, just a reason to keep going.
Okay.
But yeah, so that one was funny. So I did it. I had like I was doing like a property analyzer or whatever.
Yep.
So I knew what I was doing. Did this one with private money. So I got it. Like, people were like hearing the interest rate. I think I had it at like 11%. No lender fees or anything, but got it down. Did the renovations, found a contractor through all the regular channels, like just vetted the contractor, found a good contractor. Budget went a little bit over, but not too much, like within that 10% buffer. But for me, I was so stressed. I'm like, oh my gosh, I budgeted exactly this. They said there's overages. I'm like, oh my gosh, like I'm going to lose this deal. Like, what's going to happen? I was like, oh.
And it's such a normal thing to go over budget. I don't know if I've ever seen anything ever come under.
No, never, not once. And like, and the worst part is I built in the contingency in my numbers, but I'm still freaking out because like, this is like one of my first ones that I knew, and I won't be anyone. Like, I still freak out. Like, anytime a contractor calls me, he's like, hey, we need more money. I'm like, oh gosh. But then I just relax and be like, oh yes, this was in the numbers. It's okay. But yeah, so long story short, had the contractor in there. We did some strategic renovations. We added a bathroom, updated it, and really kept in line with what the market was asking for. Didn't do anything too crazy or anything.
Right.
Yeah, and took it out there. I was expecting like a refinance to come in, maybe leave a couple hundred or a couple thousand in the deal. Man, blew it out of the water. Obviously, like that was the time the market was going nuts. So we knocked that out of the park. I almost like doubled my money on that one. So
did you convert that into a 2-unit or you just kept it as a single?
You know what? I've never done a 2-unit conversion. I know you love them. I have the markets that I invest in. When I invested with them, they never made sense because the price of doing the 2-unit conversion never justified on the refinance. I think it's an amazing strategy. The only thing that I didn't have a lot of money. Like the properties I was buying were like sub 200. So if you were going to do, 2-unit conversion, you're going to bring a lot of capital to do it. And I just didn't have that. I said, okay, Isaiah, what do you have and what can you make work? This is not a reason to not invest, but yeah, okay, maybe you can't do a duplex conversion, but what can you do with the resources that you have? And this is what I was able to do, is like a semi-detached townhouse style. It had 3 beds, 1 bath. I made it a 3-bed, 2-bath, updated it. And now it's like one of the best units in that area. And man, people were like.
And so you kept it as a single family and it's still cash flowed.
Still cash flowed, man. It was crazy, right?
That's awesome.
And I'll be honest, like most of my portfolio was single family. And I feel like I found a niche. There's a specific type of single family home that I go after. And in the markets that I go, it works. It cash flows. They're very easy to manage, and I like them. I understand the power of short-term rentals, multi-unit, commercial, but at the same time, you got to do what works for you with the resources that you have. And single families have been doing me well. They've been doing me well.
Good for you. That's good. At least you found your niche, right? And look, a lot of beginning investors like the single family homes. Mm-hmm. The problem is it's difficult to find them and make them cash flow. Well, you can find them. It's making it cash flow, but you've done that. So now investing in Windsor, were you going out there every weekend, or did you build a team out there?
Yeah, I built a team. I've only been to that property once. The first time I looked at it, I've never been to it since, and I have no intention of going to it ever again.
Awesome. So I want to dig into that because now you've done that in Timmins, and you got multiple properties out in Timmins.
Correct, yeah.
How are you making it work? Because I'm sure there's a lot of people that are listening like, okay, I love the price points. Is it even a good market? What are the industries? What are the businesses out there?
Yeah.
Does it make sense to invest in Timmins? Let's kind of walk through that.
100%. So I'll come out first. I love Timmins. I love the city. I love the area. I've always been like, I've never been a big city guy. Like even working in Toronto, like I didn't like it. I was anxious. There's too many people, too much going on. And maybe that's me, but Timmins is like, just turn the speed dial down. Everything in Timmins goes, I call it the Jamaica of the North. Everything's nice and slow up there. No rush, relax.
With no heat though.
No heat. Oh gosh.
All right. Fair enough.
Absolutely no heat. But it's smaller, like 40 depending on where you get your stats, between 40,000 and 43,000. That's the population there. It's run forestry and mining, but they also have a major hospital and 3 post-secondary institutions. So there is some industry supporting it. And I understand that it's not industry like Southern Ontario, but you got to remember Toronto's supporting like 1.13 or 1.3 mil, right? Timmins is supporting 40,000 people. So like the industries don't have to be the same. Right. So I looked at that, did the numbers there. Price to rent ratio is beautiful. Like the rents I'm seeing in Timmins are very similar to the rents that I'm seeing in Durham region.
Really?
Yes. And people don't believe it. And I'm like, well, you got to see, like there's the mines up there. So you're getting young families coming up.
And the mine is what? Is it cobalt?
They do cobalt, nickel, forestry as well. Government of Ontario just said they're going to give Timmins $10.5 million over the next 10 years.
And what is cobalt for? Just in case somebody's listening, they don't know. It's for
batteries.
Batteries, right?
Yeah. So which is like, hey, we're doing this electric vehicle stuff. Like there's going to be some industry there. And I don't like, it's not going out of style. Like there's too, and they can, to be honest, if they just do more, there's more mines up there. There's so much land up there that they haven't touched. Like there's stuff up there.
Right.
And if you look at Timmins on a map, there's still a lot of areas to grow around it. Whereas if you look at stuff on Southern Ontario, like you look at Hamilton or Oshawa, where are you going to go? You going to go start building in the lake or like you can't, right? But Timmins, there's a lot of room.
And you know what I like about what you're doing up there is one, when you take a look at, so people are saying, well, interest rates are where they should be. And, we've kind of gotten back to normal. I agree with that from an interest rate standpoint, right? If you look at it from a historical standpoint. The problem is income to the price of homes, they're way out of whack. Because when we were buying investment properties, or when we were buying like our own personal home, it was our income was maybe, to 2.5 to 3 times. Now it's like 7, 8, and 10 times.
Crazy.
Depending on obviously where you are.
Yeah.
And it just makes it so unaffordable. But now you go to Timmins and you're back into that probably that, twice your income. Thing, right?
Easy. Like
might even be less.
Sometimes less because one of the big demographics that I go after are those younger families. So they come up to Timmins, let's say, and this isn't like gender specific, but just generically. So there's the male, he works at the mine or in forestry. He's getting paid really well. They don't want to necessarily stay in Timmins long term because they don't know, you can't mine forever. It's hard on the body, right? So they're going to go up for the next 5 to 10 years. They don't want to buy a house, but they're making a ton of money. Like some of these guys are making like upwards of $100,000. So tons of disposable income. They go to Dodge, they go buy their big bad truck. They got to park that sucker somewhere, but they're going to rent a place, not a crappy place, but they want to rent a nice place. So they'll go find a nice 3-4 bedroom house because they got, guy, wife, kids, and maybe another one on the way. You got to put the truck in the driveway. That's the demographic I go after. A lot of disposable income. They're able to buy a house for sure. They just don't want to. So in the meantime, you provide them the best quality housing you can, which is, a single family detached home, and you just service them like no one's business.
Okay, so let's walk through a model that you like.
Ooh, okay.
So I know it's single family, but what's your price point? What are you doing to it? Is it turnkey? Are you going in there? You're renovating it, burring it? What are you doing?
100%. So like my strategy is always value add. I love value add, but Timmins works as a turnkey market. If you want to do a turnkey stuff and you're willing to leave some capital in the deal, 100%. You can cash flow off a single family home. Like we can pull up Realtor right now. We'll cash flow a deal right now. But I like to do value add because obviously I'm a little bit younger in the game. Yeah. Like I said, I don't have a lot of money. Like I'm trying to make work with the resources that I have. So I love the value add aspect. So let's say this is the deals I go after. I like condo towns or semi-detached single family homes. Now everyone's going to come at me in the comments. That's fine. Do what you got to do. So the reason I like semi-detached is because you're not paying a premium for a detached home, right? Because from semi to detached, there's obviously a premium in price there. But as a renter, all you see on the listing is 3-bed, 1-bath, whether it's a detached or not. It's 3-bed, 1-bath in what area? I found that's what the renter pool is looking at. They're not really concerned if it's a semi-detached or not, right? As long as the property is in great condition in a good neighborhood. Because Timmins has some like D-class areas.
Right. So condo town, semi-detached is what you're looking for. So you're not doing the detached.
No.
You could, but you're going to get more cash flow off of those two specific type of properties.
Yeah, 100%. Because if you're going to go detached, just spend literally a little bit more and do a multi. So go duplex, triplex.
Like
right? The only thing I'm not loving about duplex, triplex in Timmins is they were very lackadaisical in the permit process back in there. So you have all these like crazy homes slapped together and they have a lot of problems ongoing because they weren't purpose-built duplexes like you get in Southern Ontario.
Right.
So great, you can get a duplex and it's like, oh, great. Oh, wow, the numbers look good. They're cash flowing. But you do the maintenance on that for a year and you're like, holy, this was not a 5 to 7% maintenance allocation. This was a 15 to 20% maintenance allocation because it was just put together crazy. It wasn't like really done well. And I found that a lot until you get into like the 4 to 5 units where it's like more purpose-built. Then you see, I feel better numbers there. But also when you get to there, like now we're talking about management issues between multi-unit stuff where single family, I've just found from a management perspective, it's so easy and it really works with my symptoms.
Right. Because when you're working like in those smaller towns, and I look even in the Kawartha, it's not even that far. You know how they have the different departments. So you'll have bylaw. I say, hey, I need to talk to somebody in conservation. Oh yeah, come over here. And it's the same person.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right. And that's what you get in some of those small towns. And everybody kind of knows each other, and things kind of can slide under the radar. I was 100%. Like, okay, look, we need an additional dwelling built. Go ahead. Do what you got to do.
Yeah,
kind of
like
thing,
no problem.
Right?
Yeah, right. They know each other on a first name basis. Oh yeah. Go ahead, John. Like no problem, right? Mm-hmm. So I felt like even just looking at so many properties, like I was seeing that and talking with other investors and contractors and people in the area. That was a problem. And again, with my resources, didn't have a whole bunch of disposable capital at the time. So it was like, let's get into something safe where I'm cash flowing and it can continue to build and scale throughout. So yeah, those are the niche properties that I like to look at.
Got it. Okay. Now, how difficult is it though managing those properties up in Timmins? Like, what did you have to do? Because you obviously need contacts.
Yep.
You need contractors. You need a realtor. You need your property manager. Kind of walk us through that.
100%. So it all started with my realtor. Shout out to Jessica. Like she was just doing it up for me. I remember when I started, she could tell like I was so nervous. I'm like, oh, like that's okay. And she just like walked me through the whole thing. She was so nice. She held my hand. She was an investor herself. And like, she really saw what I was trying to do. She understood that I understood the game and was like willing to help me grow. And so that was the starting point, but then you got to take it on your own. So I would say on average, I make about 400 phone calls a month up in Timmins. Average. Like some months I'll do like 600-700. And I'm not calling like real estate specific people. I feel like that's where everyone gets it messed up. Everyone's like, oh, I'm trying to call contractors and realtors and painters. Nah, everyone, like you're going to end up running into them, but I want to call community members, community leaders. So when I call the burger joint, when I call the nail salon, when I call, Helen's Flowers, oh, Isaiah, hi, how are you? Like good to hear from you. And then anything I need, I'm getting real contacts. Everyone can put their page on Yelp, get 5 stars and hope they get a call. No. I want someone who's come to your house before, you've known them, you've sat down, had a beer with them on a summer night. Are they going to do good work for me? You
know what? I like that strategy. Mm-hmm. I don't think I've ever heard anybody actually say like that before. So you're actually calling not the actual contacts that you need. You're calling the people in the community saying, hey, who's a good contractor?
Yeah.
Because I'm sure in a smaller town as well too, word gets around a lot quicker. That's an interesting strategy.
Yeah, don't
I like that.
Don't waste your time calling the contractors. He's busy, and no disrespect. You call with that 905 416 number. Click immediately. Like, they're not gonna pick that up. Like, you're an out of towner. You're gonna try and bamboozle them. You're gonna use your big city wit against them. They don't want to hear any of that.
Yeah.
But when Helen, the sweet little lady at the hair salon, says, "Oh, call John from John's Contracting. Hey, John, you know Helen. Oh, you know Helen? Yeah. She just." I'm looking to get this done. Yeah, no problem. How's Helen doing? And now you've had two relationships, right? Helen likes me, John likes me, and I'm good to go. We start building relationships there. But if I can, I actually take it a step further. So let's say I call Helen. I'm speaking about a real person, but her name's not Helen. You can't just call them and like beg for stuff, because that's no value add. So I said, Isaiah, how are we going to add value to these conversations? So when I have new tenants, I give them welcome baskets. So, maybe I'll put some dish soap, some Lysol. If they have a dog, maybe some like a bone or a treat or whatever there. By the way, I'm very pet friendly. That's another issue. But when I talk to Helen, I say, hey, Helen, I'm a real estate investor. I have some properties. We manage properties for others. We love to do welcome baskets. Do you have any coupons, flyers, or newsletters from your business that I can add to my welcome basket to educate new tenants about your business? They're like, yes, Isaiah, I have tons. They email me them, or if some of them aren't really good with email, I have my property manager just go pick up the coupons right from them, put them in the welcome basket. Now we've just made a value added relationship. I've helped her, she's helped me, and now we have that relationship ongoing, and it's worked like super well. Tenants are loving the baskets. Anytime I get a new tenant, I call like these people and they're like, oh, Isaiah, another tenant? Good for you. And they put some coupons in there. So yeah, it's been really good to make those kind of connections in the industry.
You know what? And that's a good point that you bring up, because I think a lot of people that are getting into the game right now are not hearing what you're saying in regards to, and here's what you're really saying: treat your tenants like gold.
Oh, yes.
And a lot of people don't. They look at them as maybe like a commodity, or they're paying down. And no, they're you have a family in your investment property. Treat them like gold, because they're paying down your mortgage. And you want somebody in there that, look, I'm not saying you're going to go to a barbecue with them, right? But at least have the respect. And listen, even for me at Christmas time, for every single property that I own, to this day, since I started investing in real estate, I still drive around and drop off a gift.
Nice.
Every single year to every single one. Yeah, listen, of course I can outsource that easily. But what they've done for my investment properties and for myself, how can you not treat them like gold?
Exactly.
And $100 is nothing, And people think, oh, give them $100.
Yeah, instantly, quickly, like do it now. Like,
yes.
I don't know why people are like, they can't see that. I'm like, you understand like how much your investment is like increasing with all the different facets that real estate makes money. And you're telling me $100 to say, hey, thank you for taking care of the property, paying rent on time, being a good tenant. That's too hard for you. Listen, man, I don't know if you're going to make it in this game. I really don't. If that's the attitude you have towards, like, I don't even call them tenants. Like, they got to be clients at this point, because you got to treat them that way. They're not just, your tenants. Like, I don't know. I think you have a great outlook on that as well. Yeah,
for sure. Okay, so then now, so you're buying these properties, you're burring them.
Yes.
And typically, what are you usually doing in regards to cost wise? Like a $20,000 kind of a burr? Is it $100,000? Are these just usually like kind of like quick facelifts? Yeah,
like I try to stick to like cosmetic renovations at best. I think the most expensive one we did was like 35, but we added a bathroom and a bedroom in that one. So that was a little bit more, because you also need to be careful in Timmins, because if you're spending like, Southern Ontario, you spend $100,000, not a big deal.
Yeah.
But $100,000 can actually buy you like a property in cash in Timmins. So you need to be careful that, is it worth taking on this renovation, because your ARV might not support it. And definitely like 2-unit conversions don't work in Timmins, because the price to do it is going to be similar. It's going to be 120, 150 in Southern Ontario. It's going to be 120, 150 in Northern Ontario, because it's materials and labor, right? That's what the 2-unit.
So let's walk through a particular deal.
Yeah.
One of your latest deals. I just want to kind of go through the numbers. So you bought it for how much renovations?
Yeah. So we'll go. So we picked this one up for $144. It was a 3-and-1 at the time. We added a bedroom and a bathroom. We did about 30 in. So we're like all in for like $175.
Yeah. So now you're a 4-bedroom, 2-bathroom, two full bathrooms.
2 full bathrooms.
Okay.
And beautiful, like nice finishes. Like shout out to Top Notch. Like they did an amazing job on that one. It's rented crazy. Like what do we got? 23 plus. And
that is so wild.
Yeah. Yeah. And like they qualify for it too.
After this podcast, I'm going to call Darlene up and say, listen, ready to rock and roll? Let's go.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Those are awesome numbers.
Yeah,
So you renovated 30,000. You bought it for 144. You refinanced it?
Yep.
And what did it refinance at?
210.
So it appraised at 210.
Yeah, appraised at 210. And that was low. I seen some comps and I saw like mine versus theirs. I almost had to talk to the appraiser, like, offside. Like I had to put that on the phone and say, listen, man, go back and take a look. Right. I'm not trying to make an issue, but like, hey.
What were you expecting it to be?
Oh, I was expecting 200, but like I just said, hey, man, I get some more. But anyway, yeah. And with the interest rate environment too, right? You gotta like, they saw comps that maybe were a little bit higher, but they're making adjustments because this was very recent, like within the last 4 months. So this is like very recent. So they got obviously have to make adjustments in the market. But again, I'm in Timmins, so like, that doesn't make a huge difference. But if you're in Southern Ontario and you get like, you need 7 and you get 6, that's a huge difference. Like that's massive. But if I wanted 230 and I get 210, like that's not right. That's not going to kill the deal or break the bank.
And then how quickly are you able to rent this out? And are you doing it yourself or you got your property manager up there that's doing the advertising for you?
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. I got a great team, knock on wood, like praise God. Like I have an amazing team. Like they're just down. My main boots on the ground contact, she is just so good. So good. I'm so thankful for her. She's really helped like me grow and scale. She gets what I'm doing. She had some experience in property management, but her employer was not treating her well. And she's like, are you really like, and I just, kept doing it, kept paying her. She's like, is this really how you do business? I'm like, oh my gosh, every day of the week, this is exactly how I'll treat you. And I remember on the phone one day, she was like crying. She's like, how do you treat me so well? Like, really? We've only met a couple times on FaceTime. I'm like, hey, like, you just do what you say you do. And like, I'm obviously, anyway, so she loves it. She's like, very good with me. And she's also like unlocked a lot of other contacts that they're not on Yelp. They're not on Google. You can't Google my business to these guys. These are the contractors who are going to come in like, oh yeah, I'll just fix this up cash. Like no problem. Just give me a couple bucks. And like, those are the guys who are going to really push your business. So when I'm running this property management company, it's actually funny you bring this up. So I have this, it's called a playbook. Like I said, I played football, right? So I literally drew up a playbook, just like how my college coaches gave me a playbook. And you open the playbook, it's all online. First thing, interior, exterior, click, goes to the next page. Is it HVAC, plumbing, heating, cooling, minor repairs, click. Let's say it's HVAC, boom, call this guy first, call this guy second, call this guy third. And that's it. So I don't even got to deal with it. She has a playbook. I update the playbook every quarter. And yeah, she runs with it and she's like killing it. Like just
so you created this playbook. Walk me through this playbook.
Yeah.
So it's just everything that could potentially go wrong. You gave your property manager the playbook.
Yeah. So and this is what I want to bring out to more investors because it's more like a template and that anyone can use. So I just created the playbook, and my job as the investor or CEO of your real estate business is just to put the players in, just like a manager of a team or like an owner. You just got to put the players in and then let the head coach run the team. So my job every quarter is just to call these guys, make good face, keep the relationships there. And when the issues come in, they've already been prepped because I've talked to them. I said, hey, my property manager will reach out to you and then like you guys can take it from there. And I said, anything over $1,000, just let me know. Like I'm not mad, just let me know so I know where the money's going. But she's very good. She understands the game there. So she'll just open the playbook, call whoever she needs.
So you've helped build her business essentially, or at least allow it to run smoother.
So smooth. And that's the idea, right? Sure. I feel like maybe I could have levered up a little bit more and gotten to some bigger deals or more deals. But at the end of the day, like I want to enjoy life. Like I want to be able to walk away from this sooner than later. Like if I'm so into it and I have nobody and no way to pass this off, it's going to be so difficult versus like, I feel like I'm almost at the point where I could turn myself off and it still runs smoothly. And, I feel there's obviously stuff we could keep building within the business. But when I came out with that playbook idea and I gave it to her, she said, this is the best thing ever. Like, it's amazing. And it's like obviously online, so I can update it. It's not like something physical there. And just the idea and the template, like once I start giving that out to other investors, I feel like they can really start taking ownership of their business but still being able to outsource some good spots of it.
Now, I don't think we finished it off there, that one property, but what type of cash flow are you getting on that? You got to be, what, 1,000?
1,000 if you're doing like bad math. When I do like good math, like when everything in like my vacancy, like everything there, yeah, you're still doing like $600-700
Yeah,
on a single family home.
And that's incredible on a single family home.
And you got nothing in, right? Like at 210, like you pulled everything out, right? And I'm doing like 210 at like, I think I ran it at like 7.5, like my interest at like 7.5.
Right.
Oh my gosh. When rates come back down, Gary, I'm going to the Bahamas. Don't talk to me. I'm going to the Bahamas immediately. I'm taking my property manager. I said, get on a plane. We're out of here.
Right.
So yeah. And that's what I mean. Like Timmins is still working single families at like 7.5. So, if you can make it work even a little bit at 7.5, man, rates come back down a little bit. Whoo, baby.
Yeah. And listen, and you're in a great position because there's a lot of investors right now that are not, right? Because they speculated, they thought homes were going to continue to keep going up, and you focused on the fundamentals. That first property is really what I think was probably a game changer for you. Yeah. Like, whoa, hold on a second. I don't want to be forking out $100 or $200, whatever the negative cash flow was.
Yeah.
Let me focus on cash flow and property. And then you went to a market that worked for you.
Because I remember, so I'm not gonna lie, I've listened to every single one you put out, like every single podcast you've put out. Like I've obviously followed you for like time, and like you make a like there's a lot of things that you say, like focus on the fundamentals. You make this one thing drive till you buy. Well, I couldn't drive all the way up there to Timmins, so I didn't drive till I buy, but I went as far as I needed to until it made sense. Obviously, keeping the market fundamentals and real estate fundamentals in mind. But yeah, I just moved out a little bit farther.
Did you at least fly out there and check out Timmins, or no? Have you been there?
Yeah, I've been there. Yeah, I've been there. Yeah, I've been there a couple times.
Drove or flew?
I flew. Oh, yeah.
You flew it there. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I bought a truck now, so I'm definitely not driving there. I don't have the gas is too expensive now.
Yeah.
But like, and to be honest, like me, I'm not very handy. So every time I go to the property, I'm just in the way. So the only reason I go there is just to network. Like I go up there, you get a stack of Tim cards, and you get a rental car, and then you go out there and just shake some hands, kiss some babies.
And there's another good point as well too, right? You're in the way.
Yeah, you're
let the people on your team work within their strength and what they're good at, and you focus on what you're good at.
100%. Like I'm so good at the back end, and like even my property manager, she says it. She's like, you make my job so easy. Like I just like my email to like my templates are good. I have good training videos. Like my back end is so solid, and I just send her the links. I said, go through the links. If you have any questions, let me know. She's like, how could I possibly have questions? I say, you've detailed every aspect of this and contingencies for each point. I'm like, good. That's my job. What I need to do as the owner of the business. You go out there and crush it. All she has to go do, show the unit, follow the instructions, get paid. That's her job.
So who are the key players that you have on your team? I mean, I know you've got it sounds like you got a big network out there right now, but like who are the main people that you've got in your team that if somebody was to go to Timmins, that make sure you have at least these first 4 or 5 people to kind of get things rocking and rolling?
100%. So get a realtor who knows what they're doing. There are tons of realtors in Timmins, which is surprising. A lot of people wouldn't think there's that many, but there's a ton of realtors in Timmins. Go get an investment focused realtor who's at least have some properties. And because again, the price point in Timmins is very cheap. So if you don't have a rental property and you're trying to sell other people investment properties, doesn't make sense.
Right.
So go find a good realtor. I wouldn't even worry about a contractor right off the hop. I would go find a boots on the ground person. That's what you actually need. You don't really need a contractor, because a contractor is great, but who's going to vet his work or who's going to liaise with him? I would spend the time building a relationship with that boots on the ground person who's down for you and your business. And again, to start, you don't want someone full-time. And I feel that's where everyone gets it wrong. They want to get someone full-time. Find someone with a job who wants extra money, not someone who you have to pay, because if you need to support them, you're going to make business decisions that might not be good for your growth, but because you want to you need to obviously like put food on their table. But if they have a job and you're able to give them some extra play money on the side, that's a really good spot you want to be in. And they're down for you. They like what you're doing there. And you can add value to them and whatever you can do.
Interesting. Okay. So look, I don't think this has been a complete smooth ride for you.
Oh gosh.
Okay. No. So what have been some of the mistakes that you made, more specifically in Timmins?
Yeah, in Timmins. Some of the mistakes, not like chopping up properties like as hard as I could. That made some of the renovations more difficult on the back end.
What do you mean chopping it up?
So like I'm not there, so I don't see it. So sometimes like, you get a couple pictures and just go take pictures, this and that. And I thought that was good enough. That's no longer good enough. Like when I have my property, like my SOPs for going through a property now, like when I get back, it's a minimum of like 750 pictures and at least 30 minutes worth of video, like tight video. I need to see the corners.
SOP.
Standard operating procedures.
Okay.
Right. So they need, or sorry, that's so technical. Just like write a list of what they want them to do.
Right.
I'm not that technical.
Okay.
But like stuff like the baseboards, like turn them on, wait, and then touch it and tell me what it looks like. And that needs to be on video so I can see it. Because before I would just be like, oh yeah, the room's good. But then when I start doing the renovations, like we budget and then like, oh, we got to replace this because we didn't check it. Oh, we got to do this because we didn't check it. And I'm like, oh, that's all stuff I could easily have done, but just didn't. So really just tear that thing apart. Get a good walkthrough, get a good home inspection. After the home inspection, go back and tear it apart again. Right? Like if you're going to buy the place, you have every right to do as much as you want with it to do it. So don't rush anything because there's other deals out there. And I feel like I was like, oh my gosh, I need to buy this one because if I don't, it'll be gone. Relax.
Right. And I think that's an important point as well too, is that if you're buying essentially sight unseen, right? That home inspection report is incredibly important.
Yeah.
Because now you want to go through every single room and understand what is happening in that room. Are the baseboards working, or the vents, or what's that brown spot in the ceiling, or like just everything.
And like, what's the play? Like, is there play in the floor? Like, why is there play in the wall? What does it smell like? Is there a mildew smell? Like the window, yes, from a picture it looks good, but is there a crack in the window? Like, do the windows need replacing? Are they not like ventilating well? Like all that good stuff that a picture or video doesn't need. You just got to go a little bit more in depth, but not in a way that's like bad or anything, but in a way that you have all the information, especially now that I'm working with investment partners. It's not wise. It's, I think in my opinion, it's irresponsible not to do that. If I'm going to take someone's money, put it into an investment and work with them to get a return, you need to understand that property. Like they should ask me, like, tell me about each wall and I should be able to have those answers. So I feel like that's very important.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Anything else, if somebody's thinking about investing long distance, whether it be Timmins or Sudbury or wherever it may be, that we haven't covered?
Oh yeah, find a good money guy, like a good mortgage broker, because once you get a little bit north, they play games with the financing, Gary. I'm telling you, they play games. Like some lenders are not super favorable to going up there. They're like, oh, they don't know, right? Like they make more of their money down there. Cause at the end of the day, like if you're a bank, why would you want to lend on a house that's 150K versus a house that's 650K? Like the interest is going to be way better here. That they want to do way more of these deals because my deals are smaller. I'm like, oh, like this is such a pain. And it's so little. So
this is where now it's important to work with a good mortgage broker.
Yes. A good mortgage broker. Like no disrespect. Like I don't need a fly by night one on Instagram. I need someone who's in the game, who knows this, who knows how to get stuff done. My mortgage broker, A1, like I got no problems with him. He's amazing. He's so good.
Okay. Yeah, that's an important point. And look, and I think anytime you're going to get into real estate investing, that's one of the first things you need to figure out is your financing.
Yeah, where's the money coming from?
And make sure that you have a good mortgage broker that can actually go to all the different banks out there.
Yes.
As opposed to just walking into, look, man, I'm not knocking TD Bank or Scotiabank or any of the big banks, but it depends on what you're trying to do with your business. And if you're trying to build a proper business, then you got to have the right players on your team.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like just off that note, like, being able to work with a mortgage broker who's willing to work and scale, anyone can get you, like if you're rate shopping, anyone can go find you the best rate. But even like my mortgage broker has stopped me and be like, hey, listen, we can't put you in this product because of what you want to do. This is going to hold you back at this stage. And I, sometimes, we go back and forth and say, no, I want to do this. Like, get me this. He's like, no, that's not going to work because of X, Y, and Z. And it's been so refreshing to have him on my team to be able to show me stuff and, things that I didn't even know. Like I go out there, I find the deal. I'm like, look what I negotiated. He's like, absolutely not. Like, this is not how it's going to work. But like being able to put that stuff up front so that when I'm in the deal, like I'm not worried about the financing because I know we made a good decision on the back end.
Right. Now, these deals up in Timmins, are you doing them on your own or are you doing joint ventures with them?
Yeah. So a mixture of both. So I have like some that are personally owned. I have some that are in the corp, and then I have some that are with joint ventures there. Obviously, the goal for 2023 is to have 10 joint venture deals with 10 amazing joint venture partners. So I'm always on the lookout. If anyone is interested or like looking to invest, like I'd love to have that conversation, see if investing with me up in Timmins makes sense.
I'm in. I'm in.
Love it. Love it.
Yeah. Okay. So, and what else is next for you? I mean, you're going to continue to obviously grow your portfolio in Timmins. Are there any other businesses that you're growing? And the reason why I ask that question is I think a lot of times people listen to these podcasts and they want to get into real estate investing. And then some people really don't like their jobs. And now they want to leave their jobs. But then they think that, oh, well, I can leave my job now because I have X amount of cash flow. How real is it just to live off the cash flow? And do you have to create other businesses that bring in active income for you?
Gary, I am so glad you asked that because, so I'm sure you went down the bigger pockets, like let's say circa 2020, they're like, you get your rentals, you have your cash flow, you retire off your cash flow. It's like, oh, okay, that's how I do it. And then I'm doing the math here up in Canada. I'm like, oh, no. That's not going to work. That's not going to work. What can I do to, if you want to leave your job? And by the way, I'm not saying you have to. I'm even more in the camp of not even leaving your job because I like the benefits and stability of a job. I just like to make work optional. But anyway, yes, I do think that real estate adjacent businesses are beneficial to growing your portfolio in terms of networking, income, as well as wealth generation. So some of the stuff that I'm getting into, obviously, we have the property management company up in Timmins servicing other investors who need assistance with their property management. We have First Position Media.
Hold on. So you're a part of that property management company?
It's my company.
Okay. I think I must have missed that then.
Yeah.
Did you say that earlier?
Possibly.
Maybe. I don't think you did.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know it was yours.
Oh, it's mine. Yeah.
Oh, so you set her up.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's mine.
See, I missed that part. Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
You're a smart kid.
Yeah. She works with me. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, cool. Go ahead.
So we have like First Position Management, and then we have First Position Media. So we help realtors, investors, and other businesses, grow and maintain their presence online. Anything from YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Reels. Like I really feel that is an industry that's going to grow, and I love it. Like I love getting on there, doing my stuff. So helping other people get into that, whatever that looks like for them, whether they're podcasting, whether they're trying to increase their YouTube, Instagram, like stuff like that. So we always have like a ton of different packages.
So is it First Position Real Estate?
So First Position Real Estate, I guess you would say that's the umbrella company. Then we have First Position Management,
and that's the education company.
That's the real estate company. So we also have First Position Education. So that's like another thing under that. So. Yep. So management's going to be like other management services for our business and other investors. First Position Media is anything like social media or content related for other businesses.
Yep.
And then we have First Position Education, which does our co-op program, our scholarship program, as well as our workshops and events.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Yeah.
What allowed you to be able to have the vision to build this business that you're building? Because I can see where it's going.
Yeah.
You're creating these businesses, you're putting people in positions, and it looks like you're going to continue to grow that.
Yeah.
Where, how, mindset, who are you listening to?
I'm not gonna lie. It's very like I know it's gonna seem like but like I just like watch what you did. Like the biggest thing is like you go follow people where you want to be. And I loved how, because so many other investors were like, I'm growing this big, and they wanted to be so wealthy with the Rolls Royce and like, these massive houses. But you came at it like, live life on your terms. Like you talked about like taking the mini vacations in the middle of the year. I'm like, oh my gosh, this guy gets it. Obviously you look like me. There's not a lot of guys who look like me in the game. And yeah, so like, I just kind of followed in your footsteps. We talked about creating streams of income. I'm like, okay, let's, start looking at how that looks. And yeah, you've been a huge mentor in my life, like, in person and online. So it's been really awesome to kind of watch you do your thing and have someone like me grow between there. And on the flip side there, like my dad has always been entrepreneurial as well. So it's been nice to kind of like, work with him on his stuff and like, as, we negotiate or talk about my stuff and grow it there. But yeah, I totally see, they say like, millionaires have 7 sources of income. I don't know if you need 7.
Right.
But I definitely see like, different streams of income, especially if you're like in a focused realm, it can be really effective.
Awesome. Well, listen, I'm glad I've been able to help you.
Yeah.
I mean, I learned from a lot of phenomenal mentors that laid the groundwork for me as well too. And it's, what when I was truly impressed with you was when you held that event.
The rookie real estate workshop.
I actually stood back and I sat there and I watched. I'm like, man, this guy is going places. Like, honestly, like I could see sometimes, you may not see what you're capable of, but the people that are around you or watching you can like see where your potential is and where you're going, and
Wow.
and I can see where you're going.
Oh,
and,
that means a lot, man. I really appreciate that.
It was incredible, and to see everybody like just writing the notes and so intrigued with what you were saying, and you did such a great job standing up there in your presence. People can see that you're a leader. So congratulations on what you're doing. Yeah.
Thank you. That's awesome. And if you guys want to watch that, go check it out on First Position Real Estate YouTube. It's a 9-part series, Rookie Real Estate Investment Workshop. If you're looking to get into it, great way to start. Nice free resource to get you started.
Yeah, awesome. And then let's talk a little bit about the social media aspect now of one of your businesses under the umbrella.
Yeah. First Position Media. It's great. So we have our YouTube channel, First Position Real Estate.
Yep.
We're continuing to grow on YouTube there. I feel like there's a good opportunity to find someone or to find like some educational content based on what I'm doing in terms of long distance investing and, creating a business, getting into real estate right there. So that's a lot of the content we put out there. And then we also help like other investors, realtors, business people increase and engage online. Like I feel like we've done a good job of understanding the Instagram algorithms, the YouTube algorithms, and putting together content. And we want to be that who for other people. So if you're doing great real estate, if you're doing great in your business and you need some support in getting that social media out there to match where you are business-wise, I'd love to have that conversation to help those people grow. We got a couple clients right now. We're continuing to grow. And it's been a really cool ride because I get to see different aspects of businesses and continue to work with those different individuals and businesses and grow all of them together. So it's really cool.
Awesome. Yeah. Awesome. What are some of the biggest mistakes that you've made in this game that you've learned from?
Yeah.
Because we all make a ton of mistakes. Listen, I still make mistakes.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you and me both, man.
Yeah.
I'm a couple big ones. So this has taken me way too long to learn, way too long. And it's almost embarrassing for me at this point. Buy once, cry once. And by that, I mean, buy good quality, high value items, services, people once. Because if you don't, I guarantee you're going to have to go buy that high value service or at least a higher value service later. And I'm talking in terms of like renovations, personal vehicles, luxury items, electronics. Just buy high quality, valuable stuff, valuable people one time, and I guarantee you'll be better off. Like I was always trying to be like, let's get a deal. Let's, save money on this. Oh, let's cut corners here. And then like when you really look back at them, man, I bought this 3 times over. I could have done this once. And this happens in my business, in my personal life. So that's one of the big lessons I would tell anyone. Buy once, cry once.
You know what that reminds me of a saying? It says, if you think it's expensive to hire a professional, wait till you hire a non-professional.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
and that's essentially what it is, yeah, right? 100%. It's just go to the professionals, but let them do what they're good at.
Yeah.
And they're charging that amount, or you're paying that amount because you're getting the quality.
And that's what you need. Like you don't, and this kind of brings me to my second point. And this one might come with a little bit of backlash. Pay for everything. And I really mean like literally pay for everything. Once you get into a spot in your business or you're trying to push your business one way, pay for everything. Double down on what you're good at. Because I was trying to do everything. Oh, I can do this myself. I can do this. Oh, I can do that. I can do that. No, pay for everything and do what you do well, but like be so good at that. There's no reason why you can't get paid the most. Like I go to work, I'll do overtime at work or I'll double down at work because I'm already good at that. I already know how to do that. They're already paying me. It doesn't make sense for me to take time away from that to figure out how to fix a dryer because the time it would take me versus the time that I could just be at work doesn't make sense. And while I'm at work, someone else is also doing the work. So it's a time thing. If I'm at work making money, someone is also working on the dryer at the same time. I've just saved time. Right. And that's, I think the biggest thing you mentioned that a lot in your content is the aspect of time. That's all we're trying to do. We're trying to buy our time back. I don't care about the money. I don't really want the money. I want my time back.
Yes.
I want my time to be able to spend with the people I love doing the things that I want to do.
Yep. Yeah. And that's where, it's financial freedom. Then you get into that time freedom. Then you get to that geographical freedom.
Yeah, there he is. There he is. That's my guy right there. Yeah, exactly.
Awesome, brother. Listen, man. It was a good podcast, man. I enjoyed hanging out with you and sitting down with you awesome. and sharing your story. I think it's been a great journey so far. Yeah. Any last piece? Actually, you know what? Before we close it off, what are your thoughts on the market? We are now, Jane, February
1.
1st. Yeah.
Hey, rent's due, guys, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, with the market, I think we got like super lucky with what happened, COVID and just post COVID market was crazy. Like if you were in, great, you got a lot of appreciation, but let's see who stuck to the fundamentals. Let's see who bought right. Real estate is a very cyclical thing, and again, like I understand. I've been in the game a short time, but I've also done my research. Like I've done the history research on the back end to kind of understand, like, okay, I'm going to take another thing that what you say, history doesn't always repeat, but it rhymes, right? So you look back on what happens and you can kind of see what's going to happen in the future. It's going to be cyclical. Like I don't think the rates can go up so high, because if I'm feeling the pinch in my position financially, there's going to be someone who's like, this is detrimental and it can't go on like this. So maybe it might go maybe one or two more, but I do think it will come back down and real estate prices will come back, not as high as they were, but I think they'll come back up in a little bit. I'm hoping early 24. That's what I'm thinking. Early 24, we're going to start to see it come back up.
Yeah, listen, I think it's going to be an interesting year. I think what you're saying does make sense, where like you'll start seeing things kind of start coming back down, maybe late 23, at least what I'm hearing anyways, and maybe even early 24.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So I got some pretty wise and smart people coming in over the course of the next couple months to kind of talk about it and pick their brains. So it'll be interesting to hear what they say. But here's the one thing I do know is that nobody knows.
No. Oh my gosh.
That is what I do know. I think back to COVID, and everybody said the market was going to crash, and what did it do? Did the exact opposite.
Just went crazy, right?
Yeah.
Nobody. I will task anyone to find someone who wholeheartedly said, "Oh, I know exactly this is going to happen." Didn't see anyone put out content prior to COVID saying this was what's going to happen with the pandemic. So
yeah, exactly. All right. So listen, any last words of advice that you can share with somebody who's listening, and whether they're experienced or they're getting started, something that changed your life and opened your eyes to allow you to be where you are, but more importantly, the trajectory that you have for the future?
Yeah. Put those horses blinders on and do the best you possibly can with the resources that you have allocated. Some people come into this thing with $1 million cash ready to go. Some people come with $10 cash, right? Mm-hmm. Whatever the resources that you have, put your blinders on and do the absolute best with what you have, because I guarantee you can do something substantial. Just wherever you are, just, you can get it done. I know you can.
Yeah. That reminds me of the law of accumulation. And the law of accumulation is just keep doing the work. And sometimes it takes 1,000 things that eventually accumulate over time. And then people look at them and say, "Oh, he's an overnight success," but they don't see all the 1,000 things that he does.
Before.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Great advice. Awesome hanging out with you and sharing a drink with you.
Yes.
Isaiah, if anybody wants to learn more about you or reach out to you or maybe even partner with you or whatever it may be,
yes.
Social media.
All right, I'll give you 3 places to go. So if you're looking to partner, see what we got going, check out www.investwithisaiah.com. That's where all my partnership stuff will be there. In terms of content, make sure to follow, like, and subscribe on YouTube at First Position Real Estate. And then come holler at your boy on Instagram. It's at It's Mr. Henry, ITS Mr. Henry.
Awesome. Content is great. I love your Instagram posts. Keep doing what you're doing. Thanks, and listen, we'll do this again, and I want to collaborate with you as well, too.
Awesome.
So,
yeah,
good stuff. Thanks, brother. I appreciate it, man.
Awesome, man.
Take care.